A much ballyhoo delay of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. That's because my voice was hurting me the last couple of days, and Chris had some meetings, and we were busy doing this, that, and the other thing. We could not get to it, but my voice had to be rested till today, Wednesday, live here at 12:31 from downtown Mahwah and also downtown Matawan, New Jersey. This is the Jimmy Palumbo Show. I'm Jimmy Palumbo, your host. This is show number 79, and I've got the world famous Chris Gucci behind the glass. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm happy to be back. I can't even tell. Like, I've been so scattered. You called me Giancarlo the other day.
You're like Giancarlo. You're hurt all the time. You're a mess.
Yeah, man.
If you were on the Mets, I wouldn't see you for 2 years. You'd be hurt.
I know. Kidney
it's good to
stone
have
issue,
you.
but I'm
I
back.
know you
I'm
guys-
good to go. I'm raring to go on the
Yes,
Jimmy
and-
Palumbo Show, baby.
And congratulations on you and Dave. My audience doesn't know, Dave and Chris will be doing a pilot thing for Mojo, the Mojo app. Is that what it is?
Mojo. It's essentially like the stock market for sports.
Stock market for sports.
I'm excited about it. It's
some kind of
massive opportunity, and
massive opportunity, no question. Well, that's great. Listen, you work hard, things go your way. They'll still be doing Chop Sports stuff, but for the next 10 weeks, they're going to be laser focused on this new pilot deal, which can, make something happen. I think, and the company's owned by A-Rod, which,
that makes it so much cooler, honestly.
Oh, it makes it cooler?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? I'm an A-Rod
guy. Oh, that's right. You're an A-Rod guy. I know Dave loves A-Rod. But as a Yankee fan, we got to bust balls on A-Rod. That's just what we do. But no, A-Rod, listen, he's one of the best players of all time on paper. But this is show number Jimmy.
I'm not gonna bash my boss, my new boss.
No, of course not. Listen.
No,
I was having fun with A-Rod.
Of course.
A-Rod's well aware that people bust his balls. But listen, that's a great break. I hope you guys kick ass, and God bless. Hopefully, you'll have time to do my show. I might be looking for my fifth behind the glass. But anyway, this is show number 79. That's right. Now, again, I was going to go with D. Hardison, who played for the Giants in the 80s, but I decided, I can't do that. And then I was going to go with number 79, Roosevelt Brown, 9-time Pro Bowler, and won a couple of before the Super Bowls, the Giants used to win championships. Nobody cares about that, sadly. But you know what I got to go with? Chris, I got to go with class of 79, Jimmy Palumbo, St. John Vianney in downtown Colonia, New Jersey. Ooh. I went 1 through 8 is my graduating year. I'm looking through my little book here, and I actually found my little yearbook from there, and I was voted most lovable.
Most lovable. What happened? That's the question. What happened?
And you know what?
We love you, Jim.
I was looking at this, and I'm looking at most lovable Jimmy Palumbo. My cousin John, he probably won. What did he win? Probably won smartest or most likely to succeed or something like that. But I'm looking through this book here. My cousin John won best dressed. We wore uniforms. How funny is that? I was always a sloppy mess. Unfortunately, I was looking through. We actually lost some people. And I thought I should give a shout out to Billy Reichert, who passed away, Joe Scarterville, who passed away, and one other person here as I fumble through the boxes here. And Maureen Morrison passed away a pretty long time ago. But I still got some friends that from St. John Vianney. I mean, obviously my cousin John's family, but he's also a friend. Got Dave Ben. My buddy Dave Ben, I went through. Let me ask you, I went 1 through 8, St. John's, 9 through 12, Colonia High, and then 4 years of Rutgers. So I did the full 16 years. This kid was always.
That's incredible.
Isn't that weird? He's the only one. Pat Colicchio went to St. Thomas High School. But my teachers, Sister Celeste, Miss Monahan, Martelli, Stevens, Rishkana, Miss Suter, Sister Grace, Mrs. Benson, Mrs. Sackett, Mrs. Mulligan. My all-time favorite, of course, was Mrs. Foster, who was a member of Springwood getting involved. Miss Sislo, Sharkey, Stenzel, Sister Rose Magdalene, and my first grade teacher, Mrs. Lohr. And some people I still talk to, Bobby Dalton and Fred Evans, and just trying to rattle off some names, people I still talk to. Phil LaFerrera, come on, Big Phil. Bobby Bass, Billy Vesey, Kenny Wallace, I talk to every now and then. Martin Carney's on my Facebook. Brian Costello. Brian Costello won fastest runner. I love that. Then you got Kenny Rogers. I used to play ball with him. My first crush was Monica Maloney getting involved. Class of 79. I know this segment's going long, but what the hell? It's my show. Denise Vella, Lisa Verdi, Geraldine Kaminsky, Donna Morsilla. She's still involved with the parish over there. Nikki Vete, adorable, cute girl. She was my acting coach for a while, too, in L.A. Irene Plaska. Kathy Rich and Mary Kate Fagan, all these people. It's so funny. Elise Gladowski, and that's about it. A bunch of other names nobody cares about. But it's class of 79, St. John's, Bond Forever. We got to have a reunion. So what would that be? 79 would be 21. That's 43 years ago. Is that possible? Oh, my God. Did I just age myself? So that's it. Class of 79, St. John Vianney, which all the Palumbos went to. So I got to ask you, what is your 79? You were probably
bro, the 79. I was reeling on the 79 because
by the way, there was nothing for the Giants either.
It's rare because I look through and there's a bunch of names that stand out to me, that players that I've heard of, but I really don't know shit about any of them. Backstories on none. There's nothing prevalent in Yankee baseball. There's nothing good in Packer football. There's a few Cowboys. But like
anything Brown, in your life, 79, anything?
79. My parents were married in 79. So I guess that's the one.
Do that.
Anniversary of my parents getting married, 1979. And I just got to say, I'm so thrilled to be moving on from the 60s and the 70s. It was trying times.
That was tough.
20 weeks. We knew going into it when we got through the 50s, it was going to be a rough stretch.
There's only 20 weeks left of this segment because after 99, you and I have to have a big meeting. What are we going to open the show with? So you're going to go. Your parents got married in 79.
My parents got married in 79. And listen,
they
made my brother a day later.
There you go. So that's funny. So there you go. That's it. So we got the Gucci wedding and the class of 79, St. John Vianney. Can't be anything in that. All right. Well, listen, another thing we got to do. Please go to Patreon and support my lovely show. Now, last week, I did a horrific job. You were gone. I didn't know what I was doing. I dropped papers all over the floor, but I wanted to rattle off because there's not all that many. My Patreon, the Fine 13. It's Alex Stetsena, Mary Eileen Riccardi, Big Mike Demosi, my mom, my cousin Joey, Robert Pastor, my Kappa Sig buddy, James Kanowitz, my website guy, Jimmy Riccardi, my nephew, John Henry Riccardi, my nephew, Eric Palumbo, my nephew, Mike Caprio, cornholelevel.com, getting involved. Frank Palumbo, finally, my brother comes in with a late, and he is, in fact, giving a little bit more than the $10 a month.
The premium VIP. He's going to hold you accountable now.
No, he put a decent amount in there. I think I might have to, clean his bathroom twice a week.
That's what I'm getting at. Some accountability on the Patreon.
Another fan, Daryl Clark, a big LSU fan. I got to give him a shout out. So those are my 13. Go to Patreon if you like the show, support the show. God bless America. And that is that. So that's my Patreon, but you got to go to Instagram. You got to get involved. I got new marketing people doing stuff now.
I'm going to give you a bit here. Keep the papers low when you move them so it doesn't go in front of the camera because it messes beautiful. I got to compliment the background. I got to compliment the background.
Well, the NY, we're going to get to that in a second. But what we're doing now is, and you missed this last week, and this is the weight situation. I'll leave it at every week I change it to a different word, situation. And it's sponsored by your friend and mine, Absolute Eyewear. That's right. The opticians for the gods. Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Give them a call. Craig and Janine. They got everything over there. Full service optical, prescription eyewear, prescription sunglasses, safety glasses, sports glasses, the whole bit. They got glasses for the kids, Chris. They got contacts, eye exam. Things are done on site. They're good people. And you know what? Listen, you get $100 off a complete pair if you mention this show. Repeat, complete pair. They're open 5 days a week. Of course, they're closed Wednesdays. Why are they closed Wednesdays?
That's going to be softball Wednesdays, of course.
Yes, and they're closed on Sundays. Why?
It's football Sunday, even in the
and,
off
and the
season.
undefeated football Giants are on the air on Sundays, and therefore they can't do anything. And that's great. And they got all kinds of stuff there. Ray-Ban Coach Ralph Lauren, Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors, Vogue, Maui Jim, and Costa Del Mar. And recently, Oakley, as in Charles Oakley. They got Oakley glasses there. Go check it out. We love them. They've been with us from the very beginning. They rock. You can call them 732-326-EYES. Absolute Eyewear, sponsor of this fine segment. Now, as your phone rings, that's okay. Here's the deal. We decided my weight was 199 last week, and we decided to do the pound and a half a week. So, Jimmy Palumbo getting involved here from the Omni comes in at 197.5, just getting under the pound and a half. I've been a little better this week. Still not where I need to be. I think I really need to pound it, but I started playing pickleball again, got it going, eating a little better. I've been home. So I did the pound and a half, what I was asked to do. I wanted a little more, and I didn't. Maybe next week. So we're at 197.5.
It's a slow and steady wins the race. As long as you're dropping a little bit, a pound and a half a week is the pace you're supposed to lose weight.
Right.
The key is to stay disciplined when you're at that point where you kind of plateau a little bit. Say you get down to close to where you want to be, that's where it's going to get harder.
Well, I will tell you this, even though I'm not losing the kind of weight I'd like to lose, I would the one thing I definitely am aware more when I eat. Now I've had some bad days, and I'll explain coming up, but I'm definitely more aware of, at least I'm aware when I'm being a piece of shit. Now I got to fix on avoiding that. But
so then it just plays on your mental health as well as your physical health.
With this weight thing, listen, maybe some people are bored by it, but it's my health. I may not make it every week. I could gain a pound next week. That's the point of it. Is it can't be all good news. Some weeks it's going to be shitty. Anyway, we'll talk really briefly about the Yankees. Now, the show was delayed. I would have been a little more harsh over the weekend, but the Yankees are still, listen, I'm going to change the tune on the Yankees with me. I'm going to forget what happened April, May, and June. And to me, this is a Yankee team that stinks, that's flawed, but you know what? They're trying to claw their way into the playoffs. You just got to forget what happened earlier in the year. It's not the same roster. It's not the same team.
I think that this team is the team that the Yankees are. The team you got right now.
This is it.
They're not as bad as they were over the bad stretch, and they're not as good as they were in the beginning. But what they are right now, they're above 500 baseball team. That's going to potentially make some noise. We'll see.
Some of the games last week, that doubleheader, that first game was just, the lineup was, I mean, I was expecting you or Dave to pinch hit in the seventh. I mean, it was just a brutal lineup due to, guys were out of the lineup. But listen, they came back and won 2 out of 3 against the Rays. And, with a AAA lineup, a couple of those games. Of course, Hicks was awful. I think that play, him holding himself on the wall with the ball.
It was one of the worst things that I've seen from a guy that's struggling at the plate.
And that's one area I'm going to blame Boone a little bit because, listen, some people don't like Hicks, but he was never this bad. So that's when you got to that's when the manager's got to, some coaches hate, and even, maybe a little Aaron Judge. Someone's got to say, hey, Aaron.
Or at least when there's certain guys that you keep them in the lineup because their glove is so worth it. Aaron Hicks' glove is
I don't think Aaron Hicks.
He's not that guy.
Like that kind of listen, he may not be a good hitter anymore, but he's not, neither was Gardner. But like Gardner wouldn't have done, it's just not, it's out of character for him. So, but listen, I'll be shocked if they win the series. But in a weird way, and last night's game against the Red Sox was awesome. I mean, Judge, he's got 57 homers. I mean,
Now, is that home runs or is that the amount of millions of dollars the Yankees are going to have to pay him this offseason?
Listen,
per season. Because
I think the Yankees are, two things are going to happen. The Yankees are going to pay more, number one, or another team's just going to come up with it's not going to be money. It's going to be the years. Like I said, my attitude is real simple. If Lindor's making $34 million a year, remember a time way back? Oh, Lindor's got almost as much RBIs. It's like, and by the way, let's settle this. Aaron Judge, I think, is by far the best player in the league. It's not close. Home runs, RBIs, his average is high, and he hits tying home runs. These aren't, Danny Tarver home runs.
And he's just playing center field now. He's playing the hardest position in the outfield, and he makes it look really easy, almost like Shaq. It's like
he's
Shaq,
not an asshole.
He's robbing home runs without trying.
The Yankees have to sign him. I'm sorry. Hey, dude, sorry.
As we talk about Aaron Judge, I just get the update. Aaron Judge won't rule out Red Sox. Of course he won't. His agent is not ruling out anybody.
Yeah, listen, I don't care. You know what? But to be honest with you, the Aaron Judge signing, I don't care about. It's the fact he's having an incredible year. I hope he hits 60 home runs in 154 games, which is really a shot.
He needs 3 home runs in 12 games to tie Babe Ruth. So 4 in 12 to pass him.
Right. The best.
That's very doable.
Well, the cool thing is to tie him, even if it goes down to the last game of the season, it's always a chance you can hit 3. You know what I mean? To tie it. So I'd like him to get one more. And then you say, hey, look, I know it's hard to hit 3 home runs, but say you won the division, you just go up there, even if they're like pitching you away, you just try to hit bombs. Anyway, the Yankees, they're just not as good anymore, but they're still in it. And, blah, blah, blah. The best team in the league is still the Mets. Of course, if you live in New York, that's all you hear about is Mets. Well,
the Dodgers.
And they're only a half a game up in the division because Atlanta never goes away. What a team. Atlanta to me is so funny. They've been good for 30 years now. It's nuts. Anyway, Mets are still playing good ball. They got a decent roster. But let's get to more important things. My McScarlet Knights, bro. 2-0. They played Linden this weekend. They originally had Carteret on the schedule. They upgraded they thought Carteret wasn't good enough, so they switched to Linden, aka Wagner. The game, it was a scrimmage, means nothing to me. The only thing we're getting out of these games is that I think the third string quarterback, Evan Simon, is outplaying Wimsat, if you ask me. That's interesting. And Vedral, as soon as he's healthy, will come back and play. But you know what? You play a bad team at home. You have some fun. You know what I loved about it? They blew them out. That's what you got to do. I don't care about the shutout. They won 63-7, whatever it was. I love that. There were days, listen, I watched Rutgers lose to Villanova in football. I watched them lose to New Hampshire. Some bad Temple losses. But listen, I'm going to dream for a little bit here. Okay. I've been a Rutgers fan since 1983. We really only had one good year. 2006, you asked me. Maybe another few years in there we were better. But we played Temple this week at the Link, whatever that place is called. I still call it the Vet. Temple stinks. But they're still a Division I team. They got a new coach. There's a high probability Rutgers really should win this game. So we'll put it as it should, right? But anything can happen. I'm aware of that.
This is the game we went to last year. Rutgers pasted Temple last year.
So now they'll be 3-0. And who comes into town? The high-flying Big Ten Iowa. Fortunately, Iowa's not flying so high. They're flying very low. They have one of the worst offenses in the country. I think it's a perfect opponent to play our first real badass team. Iowa doesn't put points on the board. Our defense, I think, is better. Wouldn't it just be, if I can just dream, if Rutgers is 4-0 and the following week they play, there might be a bye in between. No, the following week they play Ohio State. And Ohio State's going to be 4-0. How great would that be for me and my Scarlet Knight Nation to be 4-0? Now, granted, we could celebrate that maybe till about 3 minutes into the game, but that's the best 3 minutes. As a matter of fact, my thing is this: if we're 4-0, we play Ohio State and they punt before they score, or we score first, that's
a win.
That's a win, right? Like, in other words, you're playing Ohio State, you're both 4-0, and they just punted. So, and it's killing me.
They're not going to punt.
Okay. I will tell you this. You heard it here first. I've been watching Ohio State. They're so good. But you know what? They haven't even hit on all cylinders yet.
I know.
So you never know.
That's
And listen, Alabama looks like shit. Some of the good teams haven't figured it out yet. But we're so overmatched there. But you know what? Hey, one thing about college football is they're 20 years old, these kids. You get in their head. Chris, when you were 20 and you were hitting on a chick at the bar and you just thought you can get her, you were a better player, right?
Yeah,
So
and like the receivers on Ohio State is what's they're just
no,
so
listen,
good.
they're good. Listen, I'm kidding around. All I want is, you know what I want at the end? I want to hear the announcer go, and at the end of the first quarter here, Ohio State 10, Rutgers 6. We'll be right back. That's even a win. Like, I'm literally I'm going to text during that game what I think is the win so far. Like, even maybe 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, depending on how they scored. If they score on a quick touchdown, it can't be a shutout. If it's 10-3, that's a win. You
It
agree?
could be like, and it also, what do you think is more likely, 10-0 or like 28-0? End of one.
You know what? Listen. We played them like 7 times since we joined the Big Ten. We've been down 28-0 a lot in the first quarter. My prediction is this: Rutgers will be covering the spread at the half. That's my prediction. That's all I'm saying. Fair enough. All right. So anyway, you know what it is? You know why, Chris? Because September is Rutgers football. That's all I gotta say. That's our month, bro.
I give you that. Last year was what? You go 3-0 last year?
Yeah, but we didn't beat anybody. Well, Boston College is 0-2, so they might stink. But listen, September, look, the end of August and September is our time. Okay. I think we play them October 1st, though. That's bad. Wish we played them on Friday night. Anyway, that should be fun. So Rutgers 2-0. I love it. I'm enjoying it. I'm aware that there's issues, but you know what? Hey, second thing is, and this I got to shove all the way up fucking Chop Sports ass. Excuse my language. Let me tell you something. The football giants came in. Tennessee. I listen to you guys all the time. Oh, all of a sudden Henry is the greatest running back.
Well, I mean, he
is.
is. Let's
First
not
of all,
overreact.
and I predicted he got shut down. He did nothing. He was a non-factor in the game. The Giants, they were up 13-0. Play calling suspect on the Titans. I'll give you that. But listen, Barkley had lunch with Aaron Judge before the game. I don't know if you heard this. And Aaron Judge said, hey, dude, simple. Just play awesome and you shove it up everybody's ass. That's just what he did. Barkley looked very good. And I'm not a fan of Barkley. I thought it was the worst draft pick they've ever made. But you know what? He played good. He caught passes. He ran hard. He was into it. It was awesome. They were down 13-0. They crawled back. And listen, best move ever. First game for a coach. This should be unwritten rule. If you're a first-year coach, first game, and you tie the game under a minute to go, you got to go for the 2. Your fan base is no fan base is going to hate you for that.
Love the coach. I watched him the way he was coaching, in-game coaching, when he got in Daniel Jones' ass. He grabbed Daniel Jones, pulled him aside, and he'd shoot him out.
It was great. It was a bad interception.
And I will say this, too. He'd shoot him out. He deserved to get shoot out. Brian Daboll is the same guy that brought Josh Allen along, right? Josh Allen wasn't supposed to be as good as he is.
Yep.
Brian Daboll is a large influence on that success. Number one. Number two, you got to tip your hat to Daniel Jones because, look, the guy sucks, but he does not waver. He does not waver.
Time out, though.
He makes some bad plays, but he played well.
But you know what? That's what I'm saying. People are going, oh, God, what a disaster. No, he wasn't. Watch the NFL. Daniel Jones had a fine game.
He played. I know he played well. He makes some bad mistakes. He's got to take care of the ball because when he makes his mistakes, they're brutal.
Dude, his progressions were good.
But he looked good. He looked good.
Tell you another difference the Giants haven't had in 2 years. How about they used 7 wide receivers, including my boy Kadarius Toney, who, you know what I love? He said it. The guy, Dable said, you know what? He didn't practice enough, so I'm rotating other guys in. And
well,
you know
I was concerned with Kadarius Toney's usage for my fantasy teams because I have him in a lot of leagues. But 7 plays, I think he'll be fine. I'm not pulling the plug on that.
It's going to be a huge factor. But listen, I don't know. The Giants, I don't know what they're doing. But still, you know what? Big win. Rutgers won. Giants won. God bless America. And now it's time. Sponsored by cornholelevel.com. My brother's favorite part of the show. My brother hates cornhole. He likes the product, Cornhole Level. But he's like me. Cornhole is an odd thing. But if you're into cornhole, which the whole nation is right now, you got to go to cornholelevel.com. Why, Chris? Because if you have a cornhole board in your backyard and it's not level, it's embarrassing. You're not going to get laid if your cornhole level's flat or on like an angle. You got to have it at the right angle, to, fro, up, down. All you got to do is go to cornholelevel.com, type in JP Show, get your 20% off the entire order. They're $19.95. Save your $1.90 right there. Okay. This thing works. It's awesome. It's a little gadget, hooks on the hole. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's a great gift. If you guys like me, when I go to like a backyard party and everybody's playing cornhole instead of talking to chicks, I'm like, guys, I bring the girl over. Let her show how to use this thing. So you have a proper leveling board. That's what you got to have, Chris. Because I know you're the kind of guy. You don't play cornhole. Okay. You're more of a horseshoes guy, real metal, real man, right? But you know what? Sometimes the girls are playing cornhole, because it's the easiest game in the world to learn. And I said, give me 20 minutes. I'm as good as anyone at the barbecue. And next thing you know, you got a proper leveling board. And if you go to cornholelevel.com, that's what you get. Put in JP Show, 20% off your entire order. Big shout out to Mike Caprio, the owner of cornholelevel.com. He is my second baseman behind Mitch Fishman. So that is that. Now, we got to do the world famous, and I think ESPN's picking up this now as I bring the paper to annoy your soul. We got to do the second week stinks list. And here we go. Are you ready, Chris?
I'm not that sure I'm ready for this one.
I think the greatest weeks ever are when the Cowboys and Packers lose at Chop Sports. It's the greatest thing. You and Dave, you guys sound so stupid on the air. You don't know what to say. You're covering. It's like, oh, but poor Dave, the Cowboys have been so irrelevant. They weren't the Cowboys. They'd be so irrelevant. They haven't done anything in 26 years. But I hate to see all these guys getting hurt, Dak getting hurt. That stinks for the league. I never like when a quarterback gets hurt. It's like even Brady. It's like you don't want anybody to get hurt. But the Packers look like shit, as they did last week. But the Cowboys looked even worse. So my stinks list is as follows. Miami Dolphins are now good. Buffalo Bills, good. Oh, by the way, the three clarifications on the stinks list are stinks, average, good, very good. So here we go. Miami Dolphins, good. Buffalo Bills, good. Jets, stinks. Patriots, stink. And the Jets really stink. I feel bad for Dave's kid. He's got to suffer at that young age as a big Jet fan that he is. Pittsburgh Steelers, average. Baltimore Ravens, average. Browns, average. Cincinnati Bengals, from very good to just good. Houston Texans, this whole thing, the whole AFC South, stink. Colts stink. Jaguars stink. Titans stink. You lose the Giants on opening day, you stink. The Chargers, average. Kansas City Chiefs, very good. Vegas Raiders stink. Broncos stink. They really do. I put the Eagles as average. The Commanders, average. New York Giants, upgraded for the first time all year since we've been doing this. They are now average. I was going to put them at good. I just couldn't do it. The Giants are average, and the Dallas Cowboys, for the first time, I think, since I've been doing this, they stink, and they stunk in that game. You can't show up your first game like that. Terrible. If you're supposed to be decent. Minnesota Vikings, average. Chicago Bears, average. Lions, stink. Packers, for the first time, joining the Dallas Cowboys as stink.
And the only time.
You can't stink laying it. They were awful. Anyway, New Orleans Saints, average. Tampa Bay, very good. Hate to say it. Brady just, God, he just gets it. He's 57. He looks like he's 12. And he's arguing with his wife at home. He's got marital problems. What? I swear to God, if there's a nuclear attack on the United States and there's like nobody left, somehow Tom Brady will come out of some kind of bunker that he built, and someone will hand him a football and he'll just throw 3 touchdown passes. Like, I guess if you hate Tom Brady, these are bad times. So I got to give Brady a very good. Falcons stink. Panthers stink. And in the NFC West, which everybody says is the best, I'm going average across the board. Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, average, because the Cardinals and the Rams lost. So we have now the stinks, 13 teams stink. That's up from 10. We have 14 averages, up from 12. we were down only 3 good teams and only 2 very good teams. And I think that's a fair assessment, Chris. I know you don't agree with them all.
I don't agree with many, but
okay. But you
the,
know
the
what?
Packers, you could say they stink, but you know better than that. They don't stink. They're going to be fine. They played
You know
a
what?
lot better in the second half. They had 2
to put him on
bad
this thing.
series and
Listen,
really 2 bad plays in the first half that cost them everything.
Bottom line is they were looked awful for the second year on opening day. But I think this was a different kind of stink than last year.
Well, last year was just an anomaly. They got spanked. This game, they had some chances even late. It's just they couldn't cut it. But also, out their starting left and right tackle and their wide receiver one. So it's 3 starters. We'll be all right. I'm maintaining hope.
I still say the guy doesn't have God to throw to because God.
But the Packers are also favored 10 points next week. So
I know, but I see a little they're approaching the iceberg. Anyway, this weekend I had a crazy weekend. I did stand up at a place called Bad Seed Cider. Headline, really cool place up by Poughkeepsie. And the weird thing was, one of my fans, believe it or not, this kid, Chris Palea, he works at this place. And Chris, if you ever taken a ride up 17 or the Thruway, there's this really cool thing. It's there's a bridge way up there. It's about an hour from me. So it'll be about an hour and 45 minutes from you. It's called, there's a bridge called the Mid-Hudson Bridge. But right next to it, there used to be a big train line built in the early 1900s. And it got burnt down in a fire. The top part of it did. So what they did was it sat vacant for 30 years. They put this cool walkway. So you get to walk across the Hudson River. And Hudson River is pretty wide up there. It's like gorgeous. You got to check this thing out. Look it up online. It's called the Mid-Hudson Walk Bridge. Beautiful, totally cool. There's all kinds of wineries and breweries up there. Totally worth like a weekend trip. Maybe you and your girl if you want to get away. But he met me. I was on my way to the stand-up. Was only 10 minutes away, and he runs it. He's one of the guys who works for the state, and he showed me the whole thing. It was really cool. And then he came over to see the show, which was fun. And we had Jeff Gurian and this kid Ronnie Fleming. They opened up for me. We did a weird thing, though. It was 30 minutes of Ronnie Fleming, then 20 minutes of Jeff Gurian. And Jeff Gurian is also, he's famous for he was like a dentist, a really good high-end dentist. And then he became a stand-up comic. He writes books about it. He writes articles about comedy. He's a pretty cool dude. And, but I tell you, this kid Ronnie, man, like, dude, he's a pure road comic. Like, he gets in his car and he's got to drive from like he lives in Pittsburgh. So he's got to drive from like Pittsburgh to Poughkeepsie to like Tom's River, from Tom's River to Albany, from Albany to Buffalo, from Buffalo to State College, from State College to Pittsburgh again, and maybe all the way to St. Louis. I mean, he's like on the road doing all kinds of gigs, and you can see how relaxed he is on stage. He's not that old. He's a young kid. Maybe he's 30. Just really, I was blown away by his lifestyle. It wears on him sometimes, but he gets to do stand-up comedy for a living, and he makes his money by doing just gigs almost every other night at these various rooms set up by this guy named Ron Herron, who's been good to me. And it was good. Now, my set, I came out, dude. I came out like, throwing 100 miles an hour, bro. It's like, boom. First 4 or 5 minutes, boom, boom. I was like, I got this. And then I don't know. The spotlight was in my face. I couldn't see the audience. And right around let's say around the 30-minute mark, 25, 30-minute mark, just a couple of the engine lights were going on, but I knew I had enough fuel. And then I hit this like 10-minute thing where I couldn't get the engines on, man. I was like, and Palumbo with his third walk.
Trying to flick on all the switches.
I was trying everything. I was going through. I even asked one of the flight attendants to come up. Hey, does this look normal to you? But I saved it at the end. This week I got a big show. I got big shows coming up. I got a big show in Ramsey this Saturday. And I'm really going to listen to I didn't listen to it yet. I had to get it out of my system. And I'm going to listen to it and really see. And usually when you listen, I'm not the best comic in the world. Everybody knows that. But when you listen to the audio, you know where you went wrong. Like you either added on to a joke that didn't need it. It's like, I became Daniel Jones. That's what happened there. I just made some bad plays in there. But you know what? I finished strong. My last 2 bits went well. So, but part of me on the ride home, I was like, oh my God, I suck. I suck. Like I got all these headlining gigs
That's
coming up.
normal. That's normal.
Yeah,
That's
it's
human
normal,
nature.
but it's normal, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
Normal sucks. I also got to give a shout out. A guy from my high school, Bobby Vallone from Colonia High. He showed up. I hadn't seen him in 35 years. He lives up in Fishkill up there. And he's like, hey, bro, what's going on? I'm like, he brought his wife and another couple. Matter of fact, I sent him a call. I didn't hear back from him yet, but it was nice to reconnect with him. He was also a Beta brother at Rutgers, and I was a Kappa Sig, and we absolutely hated Beta. But I liked him. He's from Colonia, and there was always girls in there. So like, I would not wear my.
So is that like a Revenge of the Nerds vibe? You were
you
were the
so
Kappa.
I would like take off my Kappa Sig shirt and sneak in the back, and so no one really knew who I was. But still, because there were some brothers in our house that were like, "We don't go into Beta." And I'm like, "No, we go where there's beer and women."
Lambda? Was it Lambda from
Revenge
Revenge of the Nerds?
No, they weren't Lambda. Fiji was more like Lambda, but Beta was 4 houses down. But I always thought they had good parties, had some nice guys in there. And but some brothers like, I'm not stepping a foot in there. I'm like, dude, when any frat that eliminates like beer and dancing and meeting women, what's in your charter? I mean, it's like, the purpose of being when you go socialize at college to me is meeting people. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to be sexist, but meeting people and having some beers and and relaxing a little bit. Of course, I did that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but still, he was a Beta brother. He's going to get a kick out of me busting his balls. But I pulled it off. So I got the job done. And I look forward to this week for the Ramsey girls softball team. I'm doing a charity for them. And I also got a gig on the 23rd in Scotts Plains. I got a gig. I got gigs all over the place. I'm going to be posting everything online. I got a big show in Springfield, New Jersey on October 21st and 22nd. I need my peeps to show up for that one. Maybe you'll have a night off, Chris. Come see me. It's at a really cool comedy club, the Comedy Cove. I love Gene over there. I'll be headlining for the first time at really a regular comedy club, so I'm looking forward to that. So that should be fun. Last week was also a big week for my daughter. She started 8th grade, big 8th grade. She looked adorable. She put a little more makeup on. She got a little more ready than she normally did. She's getting older. I hate it. I wish I could shrink wrap her to make her like 5 years old again. But she's getting bigger. And it was cool because on Friday, I said to her, hey, there was 2 games going on. Now, people that know my show, Don Bosco is literally in Ramsey. And they're one of the best high school football programs in the country. And I bet they probably send at least 6 players a year to D1 schools, at least. And they were playing St. Joe's, who's 2 towns over. And St. Joe sends like 6 to 10 guys. The McCourty brothers are from there. And they were playing each other. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask my daughter if she wants to go. She's in 8th grade, even though she's not in high school. Do you want to go up to the high school football game in town? I think it's important you go. And she said, I want to do that. Some friends of mine. So, of course, I dropped her off there and I sat in the stands. But she was definitely like roaming around, talking to groups of guys with her friends and groups of girls. And it was pretty nice to see that she was acting like a normal teenager. I loved it. And, of course, Ramsey won. But the thing I got to take away from Chris, when's the last time you went to a high school football game?
Probably like 2 years ago. It's a lot different from what I'm used to.
Okay,
sure.
well, listen. I don't. You're gonna laugh in my face when I start talking about this. I can't believe how good the field goal kickers are in high school now.
Yeah,
dude. Let me tell you something. I don't even know if this field goal kicker on Ramsey is good.
Those teams.
No. This is Ramsey. This is not Bosco.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is Ramsey. And if your kid's really good, you send him to Bosco. Dude, this kid was like casually like on kickoffs, kicking it to the 5, and then on field goals, like 33-yard, good, and a deep one. And they went for a long kick at the end. They went for at the end of the half, they went for like a 42-yarder. And I was like, this is like an NFL kick right here. And he drilled it because it made that loud noise when you're at the game. It got blocked, so he probably hit it too low. But let me tell you something. You could tell that, if it didn't get blocked, that thing was going through. You know what I mean? And then the other team wasn't that good, Lakeland. And I noticed their kicker. He went out for like a field goal or an extra point, whatever it was. I'm like, this kid casually just bangs one in.
It used to
I'm
be like most schools just had to go for 2.
you had to go for the 2. Now, I listen. Maybe I'm trying to look in the chat board here if anybody can bust my chops. I think the greatest improvement in high school football in the last 30 years is the field goal kicking. I guess they take soccer kids now. I have no idea. All I know is it's to me unbelievable. And then we had, of course, we had Ramsey Day. It was a festive weekend here at Shea. I had to go early in the morning and help the Knights of Columbus set up. I was doing my charity work. We had to set the fryer up and put the oil in. I'm saying, what the hell am I doing? I don't know nothing about fryers and oil. You have to drain the other oil. It was nuts, but it was cool. There's a lot of guys who work really hard and they raise a lot of money for charities, which is cool. But the big thing I did this weekend as well is you heard about the Southern Cross reunion thing I've been talking about? That was at the Osprey on Sunday.
Yes.
Dude, now listen, I'm old. You're young. You don't get it. But it was an awesome time. The band was great. And these are older guys now. I shouldn't say by far, but like them and Twisted Sister were the best 2 bands in the tri-state area in the late 70s and early 80s. It was like a 10-year run, we'll say, in there. And Twisted Sister did the heavier rock and roll, put on a show, but Southern Cross just did badass Southern rock. Almonds, Hatchet, Skinner, Tucker, Charlie Daniels, you name it, they did it. But all these guys, they're not just like a cover band. They were like badasses. They had original songs, and they did this show. Over 500 people showed up. The Osprey stayed open just for this event. We pre-gamed at my brother's. You had about 20, 25 people there. And then there must have been literally 40 people from Colonia in the audience. Now, I had to MC and bring them out on stage. So I went to the green room, like, guys, what do you want me to do? And I'm thinking, nobody wants to see my fat ass up there. They're there to see the band, you know? So I tried to think, what can I do? And so I said to them, I said, hey, we got to mention 9/11 because it was 9/11. And dude, when I got upstage, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this reunion. I didn't say the name of the band. I made sure I didn't do that. I was like, you know what? Special day today, you know, and I said, I think we should do a moment of silence. And since there was no one under that audience under 55, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, if you were there, you would have been like people would have gave you like a milk carton to go have some milk. That's how young you would have looked. Dude, when I said moment of silence, I swear to God, bro, you couldn't hear. I could hear myself breathing. Like, and it was instant. It was like a little moment of silence. I took my hat off. Dude, it was like, bang. And then as it's going on, I'm like, wait a minute. I've never done a moment of silence. Like, how long do you go? I was like, is it
just a moment?
Well, you know, but you know, in your head, you're like, but dude, you could see, I couldn't believe it was the quietest. It was like being in the middle of the night in a closet. And then I said, all right, thank you. Put the hat back on. Everybody cheered. I said, God bless America. And then I just said, you know, I said some nice things about the band, which is true, how they're nice guys, and how I pretty much said, I don't remember everything I said, but I pretty much said like, hey, you know, this band played, we were younger, we had more hair, we had no guts, we were in the prime, and this band really gave us a lot of enjoyment, and they're great guys. And I set it up with them in the back room. I said, listen, once I say Southern Cross Band, I want to hear the drummer sticks going, man. You know what I mean? I don't want like it's got to be the Southern Cross Band. Bum, 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 and you go. You know what I mean? And they totally nailed it. They went into Southbound by the Allman Brothers. But Michael Tiny Dykes, Joe Pruitt, Sonny Pruitt, and Gary Ross, and I'm blowing the kid's name behind it. They had to have a kid drummer because the other one passed away, sadly. But this is for my Southern rock fans. This was their set list. I know this is my podcast. I get to do what I want. They did Southbound, opened up. They did Sweet Home Alabama, Jessica. They did South's Gonna Do It Again by Charlie Daniels. They did Layla, which is awesome. Can't You See by Marshall Tucker. They did their original song Free, which is great. Blackberry Wine, another original, great one. All available on iTunes, by the way. They did, what else? They did Gray Ghost. They did Funky Junkie by Charlie Daniels. Now, the song Funky Junkie, I want you to check out that song by Charlie Daniels. And even if you're just a rock music fan, you're going to be like, wow, this is a great song. I played it for people that didn't know it was Charlie Daniels. And they're like, wow, who's playing this? Is awesome. They learned it just for me and my brother for years online. We used to say Funky Junkie, Funky Junkie. They did it. They did One Way Out by the Allmans, Elizabeth Reed by the Allmans, which me and my brother thought was one of the best songs of the night. There Goes Another Love Song by the Outlaws. Lady Killer, another original, sounded great. Play Me a Song by another original. They did This Old Cowboy by Marshall Tucker. They did Green Grass and High Tides Forever, which you probably know that song. They did Whipping Post. They did Blue Sky, which, of course, I was ready to tear up because that's me and my daughter's song. You're my blue sky. You're my sunny day. They did Knoxville Girl, which was from the Outlaws. They did Ghost Rider. No, they didn't do Ghost Riders. They did Stay Alive, which they initially, after they did Freebird, was their encore. I was like, wait a minute, Jimmy Palumbo Show, opening credits, that's Stay Alive. You got to do something. You know what I mean? So I'm yelling out, Stay Alive, Stay Alive. And then they pretty much closed out the show with Stay Alive, which is awesome. So a big shout out. You know, it was great. I got to drink, and I had a few drinks. I admit it. I stayed at my brother's house. I got to hang out with all my five, my sister, my brother, my cousin Michael, my cousin Joey, my cousin John, everybody from the class of Colonia from like 78 to 85. And it was just like reliving the past. Now, listen, does every song sound exactly like it did back in the day? But there's something about going back in time every once in a while and saying, wow, this was pretty cool. And we just had a blast. The whole family was there. It was really cool. And now it's time. So a big shout out to them. But now I'd like to shout out the Pine Tar Bar and Grill. That's right. I gotta get my notes out for this one. Pine Tar Bar and Grill in downtown Forked River, 121 South Main Street, 609-489-4286. Go say hello to my buddy Tommy. They got all the big games there. They got TVs out the wazoo. Inside, outside, they got cornhole there. They got beer pong, karaoke. Go check it out. Pine Tar Bar Grill.com. Go check it out. Now, let's discuss a couple other things, Christopher. Are you watching House of Dragons?
No. I have no time. My life is
I know that.
in shambles.
And I wish I had no time. This show to me is just I'm watching it because I'm watching it. It's just missing for me. Nobody big got killed yet. I just don't get it. But I'm still watching it. I just think I don't know. I think it's missing. And they still do this creepy incest thing. I don't understand. Get off of that. Who cares? That was a shitty part of the show, the original Game of Thrones. The other thing we got to mention, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, I know it's been on the air every hour since then, but we're a little late. Listen, man, when I was watching this show, The Crown, which is one of the best shows ever, I kept on saying, and this lady's still there. It's mind-boggling to me how this woman, 1952 or 54, she took over. It's 52. Crazy. She did a wonderful job. She made mistakes along the way, but wow, just she's the last of the icons. There's nobody left. Who would you think would be another icon that could die? Maybe Paul McCartney. Maybe Mick Jagger, maybe. I don't even know. I mean, even one of the presidents, maybe Trump. I don't even know. But this was the Queen. Unreal. A testament to her. Of course, I can't stand Harry and Meghan Markle. And my mother got in a vicious argument. She loves Meghan Markle. I can't stand her. The Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. No, long live the King. King Charles. I think he's going to do a good job. I don't know the political end of it.
It wasn't Reggie Jackson that did it.
Yes, it wasn't. It's very funny. Great reference there. But listen, shout out to Queen Elizabeth. You have to. She's been on. My mother was 13 when she took over. I mean, come on now. So listen, I know you got to go. We'll keep it a short one today. My voice is getting sore. I want to thank everybody for listening in live. I want to thank everybody. Please go to Instagram, Patreon, and follow me and all that different stuff. And I will see you next week with a very special guest. Thanks a lot, Chris. We'll see you next week.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You got it, brother.
I'll text you.